Hello, good afternoon. Okay, so I'm just setting some stuff up. Okay, hopefully, okay, you can't, can you see that? Like up, down. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think it's working. Feel free to let me know if it does not work. As we always start off with these algo sessions, we're going to start off with some level 8 with Code Wars. And I do all of my algorithms using Python, so let's get started. Sorry, just gonna get all this stuff situated here. Okay, so in this one right here, so your coworker was supposed to write a simple helper function to capitalize a string that contains a single word before they went on vacation. So unfortunately, they have now left, and the code they gave you doesn't work. Fix the helper function they wrote so it works as intended. It must make the first character in the string uppercase. The string will always start with a letter and will never be empty. Okay, so we know for sure that we're working. Let me just write it out here. Okay, so we're gonna receive a string of letters. It seems like there's no numbers or anything to be concerned with, and no empty strings to work with. So we know that it will always have a letter in it. So we're gonna return the first letter uppercase. And we're always gonna return the first letter uppercase. So if we have H, we know that it's gonna be returned as an uppercase of H. But if we know that we have hello, I anticipate this to be capital H added in with the rest of the word. And the best way to go ahead and do that, okay, so what I'm thinking of my head right now is that for an edge case, if the length, because for strings, you can have properties of figuring out the length of the string. So if the length of the string is 1, then we're just going to capitalize the letter and return the letter. But otherwise than that, what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and initialize an empty list. I'm going to iterate through each letter of the string. Each letter of the string, capitalize the first letter of the word. We're going to capitalize the first letter of the word, and then we're going to add in the rest of the word. And then so capitalize the first letter of the word, add it in the list, and then we're just going to add in the rest of the words into the list. Then we're gonna join the list back together as a string. If len of word, if the length is equal to 1, we're just gonna return word of 0 dot upper. That's right. So that's what we're gonna do. So technically this one right here is what it's doing right now. It's taking in the first word, it's taking in the first letter of that word, and it's gonna uppercase it. But we are just concerned with everything else after. We are concerned with everything else after it. So what you can definitely do is slice. Python is really big about slicing. So the way to do slicing is you start at this, your starting index and your ending index, this part. So slicing takes in a start and ending, and this is inclusive, this is exclusive. So we're gonna start after the 1 because we're gonna start after the 1. We're gonna start at the 1s because you can see this is index of 0, this is index of 1. So we want to grab everything after the first index. And then, so the way to grab everything after that first index is to say 1 through everything. Is what we're gonna do. 1 and grab everything. word of 0. Oh, sorry. That's right. And then, okay, what we're gonna do, that's right. Word is equal to word of 0 plus everything else after it. I have to think about this. So typically when you add a string and a string together, string, because typically when you add a string like this together and you add another string together, when you keep adding strings together like this, when you add these two together, hi Richard, how are you? A, B. Typically when you add these two strings together, if you're always recreating a new string, that would definitely be O of n squared. Oh my goodness, where you go? Oh wait, I think you told me. I think you're going to a conference, I believe. Oh my goodness, you are busy. I think you're going to a conference, right? If I'm not mistaken. I remember that. So I know. I was so I was kind of excited about it. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you quick about. I'll come back to this and stuff. So let me show you the inside of Mockrr. Oh, thank you. Wait, hold on a second. Thank you so much. It's been alright. It's not too bad right now. Yes. So we're still trying to plan festivities for later, so we'll see how that goes. So everything's still up in the air. So thus far, so good. So thank you for asking. I hope everything's going well. Oh, I thought that conference was this week. I remember it was like Versailles ship, I believe. But yeah, so this is the platform for Mockrr, and let's see. We're gonna click next. So there's an AI problem generator. Oh, you can't see anything? No. Okay. I'm sorry to hear. Okay. Because, yeah, I was giving you a little tour. Oh, I see. Yeah, I was giving you a little tour of the website itself. Okay. You can see difficulties, the topics. Hopefully you're almost home. So, problem card, feedback button, notifications button. Okay. Let's see. Have you heard about two-sum problem before, Richard? Let me go ahead and fix this quickly then. We're gonna... Okay, so I did that. Word. So we're just worried about the upper... This is only worried about the first character right here. So we're gonna say that the word is equal to this plus everything else. The word of 0, string object does not support item assignment. Okay. String object does not support item assignment. Okay. String object, because typically, yeah, no worries. Hopefully you're almost home though, Richard. I thought typically strings should. Hello. Word of 0, because this one will be 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Typically strings should have a word assignment, and you should be able to... Oh yeah? Is it is it let's see, the problem of two-sum, hopefully it's not trauma bonded into your head. So word of 0 is equal to word of 0 upper, because upper is a method that will make it uppercase. But I know that there's another method called capitalize, and that will make everything all caps. But oh, you're on the way to NYC. Why did I say that you're coming back home? Sorry, that was my fault reading it. Okay, you're going to it. Okay. 5 p.m. Okay, that's pretty late. Hopefully it doesn't go too late though for you. Word of 0 is equal to word of 0 dot upper. Word of 0 is equal to word dot upper. But also it depends if you want to go ahead and what's the word? Create a new string or replace the current string. As of right now, I'm replacing the old string. So it depends if you want to make a new memory, a new string. Same feels sometimes, Richard. Okay, string feels. Okay, word of 0. Okay, so string object, the word of 0. Oh, okay. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say like this, word of 0. So all of the entire word is gonna be equal to, we're gonna uppercase the first letter in the index of 0, and we're gonna add in everything else as normal. And that will be the case. But doing this, if you add a string with another string, I'm just trying to make sure I understand that it's not all of n squared, because I know that when you add a string together with a string, it could be all of n squared. And with this case, the fact that we're let me go ahead and write it out. Time and space complexity. Yes, let's definitely analyze some time and space complexity, and I wonder if Mockrr has that, to analyze time and space complexity, because I know that's a thing that's definitely always talked a lot about in technicals. So space-wise, this will definitely be O of 1, because we're replacing the current string. But in Python, strings are immutable. So we are immutable. So that means that even though we are using the same word variable, it would be we do have to create a new variable or new string in memory. So oh, you lost me, like, as you can't hear me? Maybe it's my internet. Hopefully it's not my internet. So yeah, in time for this one, I'm gonna say it's O of n. The reason why I'm gonna go with O of n is because although we are cutting out very specific letters, hopefully you guys don't hear that. But although we are cutting out very specific letters, we are adding them back together, and we're still iterating through each of the letters of the string O of n time. So I am gonna go ahead with O of n. Let's see. I am curious. Welcome back. Okay, I'm curious what other people have wrote for theirs. Return word dot capitalize. Okay, I thought dot capitalize was just gonna be to make it all caps. Then maybe dot upper is gonna make it all caps. So that's my fault. Yeah, I'll definitely go back and take a look at it. Okay. Okay, but let's do. Okay, we're gonna start off with an easy one. So instantly generate tailored coding challenges powered by AI. Choose your difficulty and topic to create. Okay, we're actually gonna start with the two-sum problem first, and then we can work our way up to using the AI problem generator. So we clicked on it. Okay, so the first step here, there's a timer. Okay, nothing like a low pressure, but then okay, so it says repeat the question. Listen carefully to the prompt and take notes to help you articulate the problem in the next phase.
Given an array of integers nums and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice.
Listen carefully and take notes. Okay. Okay, so 36 seconds in already. Okay. Okay, take notes. Okay, so we're given I know, Richard. Given an array of nums So we are given an array of nums. So we know for sure there will be one solution for sure. So given an array integer of nums, one solution.
Given an array of integers nums and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice.
Okay, two indices, okay, and then we have to return two indices. I feel like I've done this before, but I don't know why it feels so different. okay, so I wrote down my notes. Okay, given an array of nums, one solution, and integer target. So there's going to be two indices that are equal to that target. You can't use the same element twice, and you have to return the two indices. Okay. I wonder if this right side notepad will come with me. I hope so. Okay, it does. Perfect. Okay, so you have to repeat the question in your own words. So I have to restate the problem in your own words to demonstrate my understanding. So there's a button that I can press record response. Okay, no pressure. Okay, already 2 minutes in. Okay, let's see. Let me come up with the right terminology of words I want to go ahead and implement. Okay, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. I know it does, Richard. Okay, allow while visiting the site. Okay. While given an array of integers, I have to return back a solution consisting of the two indices that match up to the target. Okay, I submitted that response. Oh! Okay, so the paraphrase that I provided for them lacked clarity and precision, such as specifying that the input is an array and that each input only has one solution. I should have said that part. I have it in my notes. Additionally, it does not mention the constraint of not using the same element twice. I have it in my notes. Okay, I want to try one more time. I know I'm 3 minutes in, but okay. Given an array of integers, there is only one solution, and in that input provided to us, we have to find two indices that total to equal the target, and I cannot use the same two numbers twice. Okay, we're gonna submit the response. Hopefully it's better. 85%, yay! I jumped up to 60 to 85. Oh my gosh, Richard, you should. Okay, I jumped up to 85%. So I went up 25%, which is really good. Okay, so the paraphrase is stated that I could have done better by using the paraphrase captures the main idea of finding two indices whose values sum to the target. However, it slightly misstates the constraint by saying I cannot use the same two numbers twice instead of I may not use the same element twice. Hi, welcome my ASMR. Okay, sorry, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, so on the bottom of it, it also states the original problem statement. So given an array of the integer nums and integer target, return two indices of the two numbers. So, okay. Okay, I'll do a lot better about restating that. Okay, so we're going to continue to the next step. Okay. So now I have to ask it clarifying questions. Okay, now I have to ask it clarifying questions. Okay, so it actually wants me to type clarifying questions, or it actually wants me to go ahead to type any clarifying questions or go ahead and write any clarifying questions. Okay, Okay, so we're 5 minutes and 46 seconds in. Typically, I know that in technical settings, you want to make sure you condense everything into 35 minutes or less because you want to leave room for questions. Okay, so I gotta go a little faster. Okay, let me think about any clarifying questions. Will the list ever be empty? You can assume that the input list will not be empty. How big are the numbers I'm dealing with? Oop, let's do this. Oop. Are there any negative numbers? You can assume there may be negative numbers. Okay. How big are the numbers we are working with for the input array? Will our target be 0? Within the array, will there ever be any characters such as strings, letters, chars, any of that stuff involved as well? Or are we just strictly dealing with numbers? Okay, so it's stated that the input array will only contain integers, no strings or characters. Okay, I wonder if it's gonna grade me on my clarifying questions. Okay, it doesn't, but I think that'd be kind of cool to see if you ask good clarifying questions too. Definitely something I will have to reach out to Anthony because I want to be graded on seeing if I ask good clarifying questions as well. I wonder if something like that could be graded, but okay. So use examples. So we're gonna go ahead and create sample test cases to verify my understanding. So this is where I would go ahead and come up with some examples. Okay. So this example, if I have this, but my target is 4, my example of this output will actually be an empty array. Is what I anticipate to see. And you can validate this test case. So the provided example input is invalid because the array is empty. According to the problem prompt, there must be exactly one solution. So this is not possible. Okay, so we'll delete this test case and we'll work on another one. So if I have an array of integers from -2, 0, -10, 8, and our target is 4. Is 4? Okay, our target is 4. In this example, you can see that -2 add with -10 is going to be -12. -2 with 8 is going to be a 6. But 10 with an 10 with the 8 is going to be a -10 with the 8 is going to be -2. So this one should return -1, -1, meaning that there were no examples. I couldn't find any two pairs, any two indices to go ahead and be returned. And I'm gonna validate that. It doesn't work. Okay, so oh yeah, that's right, because there'll always be one solution. It did say that though. The output -1 is typically to indicate no solution. So additionally, in the input array with target 4, there are no two numbers that sum up to 4. So input itself does not satisfy the problem's constraint. That is my fault. I knew that in the problem already, but that's my fault. Okay, we'll do another one, and this time we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's shake it up a little bit. 2. We'll do the multiple numbers in a bit, but we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna look for a 7. So this I anticipate to go ahead 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 2 and 3. So I anticipate 2 and 3 to be returned back. The index of 2 and 3, which is 3 and 4, because that gets us a 7. Yes. And then I want to go ahead and talk about 1, 2, 2, and then 3. And I'm looking for 4. I anticipate to go ahead and see 0, 1, 2, 1 and 2 to be returned. And the way this can be okay, we're 11 minutes in. But the way to, but for the way for this, I anticipate this to go ahead and get returned is because 1 and 2, because I'm going to go ahead and store their index position in a hash map. And by doing that, I can recover that 2 is at a different index position than the other second 2. So we know for sure we can go ahead and use it since they aren't the same element twice. So with the hash map, yes. And that should, yes, that should work. Okay, these are great examples that I'm gonna go ahead and go through. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and iterate through this. Okay, so I'm gonna call this a brute force solution. Sorry, something flew near me, but okay. We're gonna call this a brute force solution. We're gonna have a pointer. Okay, that's pretty cool, the time and space complexity of this. Okay, but let me come back to this. Description is, what's my description? Brute force solution, the description is gonna be a, okay, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and iterate through the list, the array. I want to be careful how I use list and array interchangeably for Python purposes, because yeah, I code in Python, but in this example I'm gonna go ahead and use it as array, but generally I would prefer the terminology of array, or sorry, list for Python. But I think it might yell at me if it is stated a list. But so we're gonna iterate through the array, and then we're gonna iterate through the array starting at the first index. Then we're gonna iterate again in inner loop starting at the second index. Check to see if the first index number, or the first index value plus second index value is equal to the target. If it is, return the index position of the first index and the second index. Else it will keep traversing through the end of the list. Array. And to the end of the array. I wonder what kind of voice code would have when it yells at us. We're gonna find out, Richard. So this will definitely be a quadratic. But then the space-wise will be linear, because we'll always just be returning two values. So you must select a solution approach. Select one of your brainstorm ideas before proceeding to the implementation step. Okay, so another idea of doing this is that we're going to do an optimize approach. Optimize approach using sorry, I was thinking of hash map already and hashing, but using a dictionary. In my world, it's a dictionary. So we're gonna create, or I wouldn't say create, initialize an empty dictionary. We're gonna iterate through the what is it called? Iterate through the array of nums. We're going to iterate through the array of nums. Then what we're going to do is calculate the difference between, we're gonna calculate the difference between target minus the current value we are currently on. Check to see if, we're gonna check to see if the what is that word, check to see, so we're gonna calculate the difference between the target minus the current value we are the pointer is currently on. Check to see if the difference exists in the dictionary. If it doesn't exist, add it to the dictionary. We're gonna add, 16 minutes. If it doesn't exist, add the value key, add the number as the key and the index position as the value into the dictionary. Else, sorry, I do that hashtag because I'm thinking it's a comment, but else, what we're gonna do is go ahead and return the current difference that we are on, and we're gonna return the current value. Return the current value that we are on. Return the current value that we are on, and return the current value that we are on, and also the difference from the dictionary. Doing this will definitely be linear time in linear constant space, because, well, it wouldn't be it's not constant space, it will be linear because we have to create that data structure of that dictionary. So I am going to go with this, but let's go ahead and write out this brute force. That's so interesting, because I wonder if you can write out, you have to implement both the brute force and the optimized approach. That is an interesting thing. Okay, so we're gonna go with this. Okay, and then JavaScript, yes. Okay. I wonder if I can do it in JavaScript. I think I remember doing it in JavaScript. Okay, so we're gonna write it here. So function is main, and then we're gonna call it. I think I remember how to do it in JavaScript. Let's stick to Python. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna print. I was gonna say, does it let me play around to anticipate to see what it will go ahead and print out? But I see that in step 6 you can go ahead and debug it, but we're not gonna do that then. So we're gonna do it here. So what we're gonna do is def of main, and we should go ahead, because it's gonna go ahead and give us an array of nums. So I'm gonna go ahead and say nums, and this nums is gonna stand for that given an array of nums. So what we're gonna do is say that for nums and nums, actually, okay, so we're gonna say for all the way to the end of nums, and also for num2 in range, we're gonna start at index 1 and go all the way to the length end of nums minus. This one will go all the way to minus 2. This one will go all the way to the very end, because otherwise it will be it will definitely be indexed out of bound. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wonder if it's my internet. That's why. But we're gonna say that. That's right. It also, typically, I like this because typically in lead code, okay, 20 minutes in, so typically I like this because you have to go ahead and fill out the arguments that it's gonna go, the parameters that it's gonna go ahead and take in. So we're gonna do it like this, and this is what it's gonna call, and then we're gonna say it's gonna take it, right here. I'm gonna pass in the example that I'm looking for. I hope I'm doing that right because that's my understanding. Because yes, we are calling the function, but we didn't pass it anything that we were anticipating to see, because we anticipated to see that, hey, this is our array of nums. This is our target that we're shooting for, and then we're gonna say that if num plus num2 is equal to target, then what we're gonna do, nums of num, because when you do range, that gives you the index position, but now I have to actually get the value, and to get the value I have to do it like this, where nums of nums like this, and then we have to do return. And since we only want the indices of them, so we're just gonna say num or 2. Otherwise, what it's gonna do is it's gonna keep, so we're gonna leave it as is, like this, because we know for sure there's always one solution. I know, Twitch. Hopefully Twitch is working, or hopefully it's my internet. So hopefully it's hanging out in there. Okay, so yes, I am gonna go ahead and state that, okay, these are the arguments that I'm gonna go ahead and pass in. So I'm saying that we're gonna go ahead and iterate through all the way through the second last one. So first pointer, quickly here, let me walk you through it. Hopefully, okay, so we're gonna see that, but then, so essentially this is I, and this one is gonna be J. Hence why I said stop at, I is going to stop at -2, J is going to stop at -1, because we definitely don't want the numbers to go out of bound. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. And now we're going to look at the values, that if this number plus this number is equal to the target, we're going to go ahead and just return the indices. So I'm going to go ahead and submit my solution, where it's asking me to check my own work. In step 6, if I want to debug the solution. So if any tests fail, they'll be shown below. I feel confident, so I'm going to validate the solution, and it's validating. Please wait while we validate your solution. So we're going to see it's thinking. No! Okay, so my score is 70%. The code has a logical error in the nested loop indices. The inner loop starts from index 1, which means it could potentially pair the same element with itself, violating the problem's constraint of not using the same element twice. Additionally, the loop boundaries are incorrect, leading to potential index errors or missing valid pairs. So the function also lacks a return statement solutions for when a no statement is found. Okay, because I thought, okay, so for sure, okay, so what I gathered from that is we need to go ahead. I wonder why I can't scroll up. Maybe I click here. Oh, I can't see the validation error. Okay, but it's okay. So what I gathered from that is go ahead and write a number where, so we're gonna return -1, meaning that we couldn't find an invalid pair, which is, unless I'm not understanding that correctly, because I know for sure, I know, I thought I did so good, everything made sense. So feel free to let me know if you would have done anything different, Richard. It is a C. Let's try to see if we can get it to a B. So for sure, I know that it stated that, okay, for 24 minutes and not as good. We're gonna return -1, meaning that it was invalid. Whatever passed in was invalid, so it didn't work. So we're gonna say -1, which is interesting because I thought that it stated that there will always be one solution. Unless I didn't understand that correctly, and that's my fault. And then we're gonna go ahead and state that we're going -1. This one's gonna go all the way to the end, and then I forgot what else is stated, because okay, we're gonna validate again. I forgot what else is stated, and I know for sure it talked about my iteration errors. Okay, so your code attempts to find 2 indices, however it's a logical flaw. The inner loop starts from index 1. The inner loop starts at index 1 from every time. Oh yes, that's right. Okay, I remember why. Okay, which can lead to using the same element twice. That's right, because it should never always start at index 1. I know why. So the code does not handle the case where the same element is used twice. The function should return indices of two different elements that sum up to that. Okay, that is my fault. Okay, so you don't ever want to start. It just shouldn't start at index 1. It made sense in my head because what I was trying to say with index 1 is saying that it starts at num plus 1. So it'll always start one in front of the first index. And then you can see it's been a while since I've done two sum, but it's in my head. Oh, passing score, Richard. We did 95%. Okay, but what happened? Why that 5% didn't work? The code correctly implements a solution to find two indices. It uses a nested loop to check all pairs of number. However, the solution is not optimal in terms of time complexity as it runs. Yes, so a more efficient solution exists that can solve the problem in O and time. I definitely understand there is an optimized solution for this, but I am curious as to why it wouldn't give me 100% for that brute force. I am curious. Probably because I can see that it wants me to go ahead and be 100% for the when I can have better time complexity. So typically, if you have better time complexity, it means the code will run faster. But we can do complete. So wait, what happened? Our summary report. Review your summary and get insights on how to improve. I know, Richard. 95. That's exciting. Exactly. But hopefully, maybe I can go back and check it out. But okay, so this is our summary report. I need to practice more with similar problems to build coding accuracy. My overall performance is 85%. I would love to take a screenshot. Heck yeah. That's a win in my book. 85%. That is pretty good. Okay, so I completed all of it, and I'm just curious like what it states. Okay, it stated what I asked, the questions I asked it, 2 test cases, and it showed debugging. My validation of Tim's with 3. Yeah, I wonder, Richard. Okay, so my understanding was good. There was 5 questions I asked, 2 test cases. I spent 5 minutes repeating the question, brainstorming, which was 6 minutes. I could definitely do that a lot faster. I wonder if it's still timing right now. I am curious. Okay, we are taking screenshots of it. So sharing success. You can share it. That is pretty cool. Okay, so I wonder. Okay, so let me do that, but that's probably my fault. I wanted to go ahead and try to fix the optimize. I wonder, Richard. I was curious if I can go back to implement. Okay, so it would allow me to go back and implement. So we're gonna continue with this approach, and what? Selected brute force. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave that one as is. Yes, I'd be interested to know that. Okay, so we have easy, and it seems like the easy problems right now is just 2 sums. All of the topics. You can do system design and data structures, database, and front end. That is pretty cool. There's arrays, strings, trees, graphs, and dynamic programming. Okay, we're gonna try an AI problem generator, and we're gonna choose a level of difficulty in our topic. So I am hoping for something. So we're gonna go easy because I'm not sure what's gonna give us off the bat. It seems like a let's randomize it and jumble it around kind of thing. So let's try it out. Okay. There's array and hashing. There's 2 pointers. There's stack. There's searching. Heaps, backtracking, graphs. intervals, bit manipulation. Okay, so all of this seems like it's all for data structures and algorithms. Because I'm curious if they had an AI generator for system designs and stuff like that we saw. But we're gonna go to 2-pointers. I feel confident about my 2-pointers. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So AI is gonna generate me a problem. I wonder if it's gonna be really random and it's not gonna be like something you've seen on leak code. So, but using the 2-pointers algorithm, I think that will help get us somewhere. Okay, so back to where we started. So we're gonna have to listen to the repeat question. Okay. Did it replace?
Given a sorted array of integers and a target value, write a function findSum that returns a pair of indices whose corresponding values add up to the target. If there are multiple valid pairs, return any of them. If there are no valid pairs, return an empty array. Note that the array may contain duplicate values. Function signature. Function findSum r, numtarget number. Input, an array of integers r, 1 quad length 10, 5, main is 10 9, n equals 10, 9, an integer target, main 10, 9, 9, target equals 10, 9. Output, an array of 2 integers representing indices in the array. If no pair adds up to the target, return an empty array.
One more time.
Given a sorted array of integers and a target value, write a function findSum that returns a pair of indices whose corresponding values add up to the target. If there are multiple valid pairs, return any of them. If there are no valid pairs, return an empty array. Note that the array may contain duplicate values. Function signature. Function findSum r, numtarget number. Input, an array of integers r, 1 quad length 10, 5, main is 10 9, n equals 10, 9, an integer target, main 10, 9, 9, target equals 10, 9. Output, an array of 2 integers representing indices in the array. If no pair adds up to the target, return an empty array.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're already 2 minutes in, so given a sorted array of integers and a target value, I have to return back a pair of indices that equals the target value. The array may have duplicate numbers, and if there are no pairs, return an empty array. And return the first pair of indices that equals the target. How'd I do? Okay, 75 for my first one. That's not bad. Okay, so the pair phrase captures the main idea of finding a pair of indices whose value sums to the target. However, it lacks clarity in some parts and contains a few inaccuracies, such as apparent indices and first period indices. The mention of returning the first period indices is incorrect, as the original prompt specifies returning any valid pair, not necessarily the first one. That is my fault. Returning the first valid pair. Return the first valid pair of indices. So given this array, write a function called findSum that returns a pair of indices Yeah, I know, Richard. I sense this pattern as well, and I noticed that it was talking about the constraints as well. This constraint 1 is less than r dot length, and I was like, wait, what's going on? But I remember seeing the constraints from leak code. So copy that. Okay, we're gonna paste it here. Otherwise, may contain duplicate values. We're gonna say find the sum. So r of number target is equal to number. So it's gonna return a number of array. Okay, So we're already 4 minutes in. Oh no, I spent way too long with that. Okay, 1. Okay, so 1 is gonna be less than r of length. Okay, so r length will always have more than 1, and it seems that the number values could be contained negative as well. Oh yes. Oh, oh, in regards to my pattern of 5s, I'm trying to get to 90s. I'm trying to get high up there, but I'll take 5s for the moment. So as I get better with this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, questions. Okay, so an array of 2 integers representing indices. So when I typically think about like array of integers, I think about like an empty array. But I know that from the constraints here, I know I'm gonna always have at least 1. I know that I'm gonna always have at least 1. And then they're going to be negative values, because that was my other questions, if they're going to be negative values, and there will be negative values as well. So we need an array of 2 integers representing indices. If no pairs add up, then we need to return that empty array. I felt like all of these were like clarifying. All these constraints were good and clarifying to me. So I'm not going to ask any clarifying questions because I feel comfortable with the constraints. Please let me know your thoughts, and if you would prefer if you have any other questions, you would definitely ask any other clarifying questions, because all of it has been provided to me from these constraint numbers. I'm gonna feel comfortable ahead going. So here, okay, also I can see that here as well in these edge cases, 3 1 3 1 3. Okay, I was like 1 3. Okay, so in these test cases as well, I can see that they have their own examples. You can see that we get an empty array of 1 2 3 4. Or sorry, not an empty array, but we have an array of 1 2 3 4 of the nums, the elements in there, and we have a target of 6. If we take the elements of 2 and 4, add them together, we get the elements of 6. So we're going to return back the indices. And this definitely does sound like the 2sums algorithm that we just did as well. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the same one and try to remember how I did the same ones before. Okay, it wasn't a 4 because that would construe it. So we're going to do a 4. I anticipate to see 1 and 2. Index of 1 and index of 2 to be returned. So this is what I am anticipating to see. Should be green, yes. Otherwise, what I'm going to do here as well as for another case, 3 4, but we have a target number of 10. Target number of 10. Since we know that 1 2 3 4 adding up just 2 values together does not total up to 10. So we're going to return an empty array is what I anticipate to go ahead and see back from that. Okay, and that's all that we're gonna do for now, considering that I'm 8 minutes in, and that is really bad. So okay, so the last one I did, okay, so we did a brute force approach with the I'm still gonna write it out just for the sake of this interview, this mock interview, like that brute force approach. But I'm gonna write it a little smaller, not as in depth as I did the last round, but it's the same idea of the nested loops. So we're gonna do the same idea of the nested loops, and that one's gonna be O of n squared. I love it. It's just, yes, time constraint, but we're getting there. The time constraint is really good, and I love how it is making me think and repeat back what I'm hearing or anticipated to hear, so I know how to go ahead and use the examples. So it's going on really well, and I love that it's testing me and telling me how I could have articulated better. So so this question that I'm on right now, as you will see in a bit, it reminds me of 2sums. So the previous one we did before that was a 2sum, and I did a nested loops to solve that. So now this time around, we're gonna go ahead and do a hash map. So we're gonna do an optimize one with hash map. Sorry, writing and typing at the same time. But so what we're gonna do here is initialize an empty dictionary. We're gonna initialize an empty dictionary. We're gonna go ahead and calculate the difference, taking the current number we are on for the pointer. Best way to say is that we're gonna iterate through the array of nums, and then we're gonna calculate the difference we are on for the pointer. Yes, this stuff is good. So I love how it kind of challenges me and is very different from LeetCode and NeetCode. So and we are for, so yes, calculate the difference of the number we're currently on for the pointer. So yes, so we're gonna calculate the difference taking the current number we are on for the pointer and minus the target. I was like, where am I? Okay, so minus the target. Okay, then we're gonna check to see if the key value pair exists. So we're gonna check to see if the key, if the difference, the key of, so we're gonna check to see if the key, which is the difference, exists in our dictionary. Okay, 10 minutes in. I feel pretty good thus far with 10 minutes in because now we were brainstorming and now we're gonna go ahead and implement our solutions. So we're gonna check to see if the key difference exists in our dictionary. Then we're gonna return the value that it's associated with the key. Else, we can return the value, because we need to return the value and the pointer we are at in an array. Because we anticipate to go ahead and see an array return back with the two indices. So we're gonna add in the index position. We're gonna add in the key value. Well, I wish this app also would judge me on my pseudocode, because I feel like to me it makes sense add in the key value. I understand what that means. Add in the key value, the difference, and then the index position. So otherwise what we're gonna do, if we iterate through everything and we don't see anything, so we're just gonna return an empty list. By doing this, we're gonna go ahead and be able to optimize our time complexity into O of n, but our space complexity wise is going to be O of n as well. And the reason why it's going to be O of n is through the dictionary. Sorry I'm talking so fast because I want to make sure I do this. I get this in time, because that timer is not friendly. But I love it. I love it. I love the pressure like that. Okay, so let's start with this approach. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch to Python because I love doing my algos in Python. And it's gonna, so as stated before, it's gonna go ahead and present an array, and then there's a target. So I am gonna go ahead and pass in our array of nums, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna go ahead and say, like, for instance, I know nothing like pressure, but this is good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pass in 5, and from 5 I anticipate to go ahead and see 0, 1, 2, 1. 0. Okay, you could definitely do, ooh, this is a good one. I chose a good one. You can definitely do 1, 4, or 2, 3, and both works, but then which one do you think will come first? The 1, 4 or the 2, 3? Let me know your thoughts. I definitely think for sure it'll be the 1, 4, because we're gonna iterate through the 1 and the 4 first. So we're actually gonna return back a list of 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. So you can so yes. Okay, so what we're gonna do, as I stated before with this my pseudocode, is, okay, so we're gonna say a dictionary is equal to an empty object, and then we're gonna say iterate through for num in array. For num in array, oh yes, okay, so I need to do enumerate. And the way I need to do that is because I need to keep track of the index and the value as well. So in Python, you can use enumerate, and that will allow you to go ahead and access the index and the num right away. And then we're gonna say that we're gonna calculate the difference in here inside of the loop that we're looking at, and we're gonna take target minus the current num. And then now we're gonna say that if dictionary of difference exists, if you exist, then we're gonna go ahead and return the index position. So the index that we're currently on for that pointer that we're looking at, and also we're gonna go ahead and return that difference of dictionary of difference, because we want the value. So it will be like this. Else, what we're gonna do is dictionary of this is equal to the index. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and set in the key or the value to equal the index of whatever the pointer that we're currently on. Oh, I feel horrible. I hope that makes sense. Okay, but yes, so and then don't forget to make sure that it is return an empty list. I want to go ahead and make sure that I return that empty list, because if there's no pairs, we have to return that empty list. And then by doing this, yes, O of n time and O of n space. And I just want to make sure it's going to ask me to debug my solution. Okay, so let me just walk through it quickly to make sure I get it right. I am at 16 minutes right now. Still, okay. So our dictionary right now is, okay, so we initialize the dictionary to an empty object. And then now we're going to go ahead and iterate through the index and the num in that array. And I'm going to look at the difference. And the difference is calculated by taking the target minus the num that we landed on in that array. And then if the difference, sorry, in my head I'm just thinking that, okay, so if I do this, initially I said the 0 and the 3 was going to come first, but technically it would be the 2 and the 3, because if I do, okay, I don't want to take too long to explain my thought process on that, but 0, 1, 1, 2. Because if I iterate through, 1 goes into our dictionary, and then we're going to look here to say that our target of 5 minus 1 is a 4. Do we have a 4 in our dictionary? No, we don't. So we're going to continue iterating through. 2 is going to go into our dictionary. Hey, 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. Hey, do we have it? No, we don't. So we're going to go ahead and set 2 with the position of the index position of 1 into there. And now we're going to go ahead and iterate through the next one, which is 3. And 3, we're going to say, hey, 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Hey, does 2 exist already? It does. So we're going to go ahead and return that index position of 2 and 3 back. So 2 and 3 would actually come first before that 1 and 4. Wait, no. Okay, wait. A 50%? No. Wait a second. Let me go back and take a look. No. Okay, so my confidence score is 70%. So the code attempts to use a dictionary to find a pair of indices. For sure that pattern of 70 is finding me. So yeah, however, there are logical errors in the implementation. So the dictionary is intended to store numbers as key and their indices as values. But the code incorrectly checks for the presence of difference in dictionary using if dictionary or difference, which will raise a key error if difference is not in the dictionary. Additionally, the indices returned are in the wrong order. Oh, the indices returned are in the wrong order. Okay, as the current index should be stored in the dictionary and the found index should be returned first. Okay, yes, that will be an easy fix. We can do it dictionary difference and then IDX. Oh, it doesn't let you go up. Okay, so okay, the dictionary is being used to store. The code also does not handle the case where the same element cannot be used twice unless it appears twice in the array. Okay, so the code will, okay, 20 minutes in, okay, give me like a minute or two to think about this. The code will raise a key error because it tries to access access dictionary of difference and checking if it does exist. So if that's the case, difference is equal to that, without checking the difference exists in the dictionary. I think I need to go, okay, so basically our object is empty right now is what it's saying, and it is saying that it is empty. So what I would probably need to do first is probably set it in before checking. If dictionary, oh, okay, so then yes, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and set it in to the dictionary first, then we'll go ahead and return it. What I would say is, okay, what I would rephrase this differently is saying that if the difference is not in the dictionary, then we're gonna go ahead and set it. Then we're gonna say the dictionary of difference is equal to the IDX. Else we do know that it's already in there, so we can go ahead and return this one. Is what I'm gonna say. It's still in 70%. Okay, so the code typo contains with the name different. Oh, that's my fault on spelling. If difference not in dictionary, just making sure the rest of my spelling makes sense. Oh, okay. So the code attempts, okay, we're still at 70, but we can figure this out. We can debug this real quick. So the code attempts to find a pair of indices whose values add up to the target, using a dictionary to store the difference between the target and each element. However, the logic is flawed because it stores the index of the difference instead of the index of the current element. The current element in the reason of the current element is num and not dictionary. Oh, I can't go back up. So we're gonna validate and see what it says. Did I say return to that? Okay, so it uses this to track. However, there's a logical error. The dictionary should store the indices of numbers already seen, not the differences. Additionally, the code does not handle the case where the target cannot be achieved, as it will return an empty array correctly but may not handle all scenarios properly. The code also does not take advantage of the fact that the array is sorted, which can lead to, okay, so that hint right there tells me that typically when an array is sorted, you can use binary search. So that means you can knock out half of it, and you can basically knock out half of it, and you can go ahead and return that target sum faster. Okay, so then I'm trying to think, like, do I go ahead and implement a binary search in it quickly, or do I just finish through with my problem? Because typically when an array is sorted, binary search is a excellent choice, because that would be O of log n time, which is very close to constant. But the dictionary should store, okay, I am gonna copy you because I felt like So IDX, num, and enumerate. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do dictionary. If difference is not in this, it's not in the dictionary. Oh, that's my fault. Otherwise, we're gonna return that and we're gonna return the difference. That's my fault because we're gonna store the number that we currently see. But else, if we already seen it, we found our difference in the object, then we're gonna return that difference at the key, that index position, and then the current index that we're on. We're waiting for it to validate. Okay, so the code attempts to find a pair of indices, however it fails to account for the fact that the array is sorted, which allows for a more optimal choice. Okay, so this could lead, okay, so it does want me to, since we're still at 70%, we're 25 minutes in, we'll figure this out. It does tell me that there's a more efficient algorithm for this. So it is telling me that I need to go ahead and implement a binary search. And typically, let me go ahead and pseudocode a binary search quickly. Typically with a binary search, what you will do is you're gonna have a left and a right, and we're gonna calculate. So let me go ahead and a left and a right, yes you do, but left typically starts at index 0. Right starts at the end of the array, and then we're gonna calculate the middle, and then we're gonna see calculate the middle. So you have an array and you have to calculate in the middle, and you need to go ahead and check to see if two numbers equal that target. Check it to see, calculate the middle, and we're gonna my concern is that typically the dictionary, okay, so it should return back two pairs, an array of two integers. Okay, so my concern for this is, do you want to return, typically when you do a binary search in a binary search, because this one is tripping me up a little bit because it has, I need to return back two integers representing the indices, and I want representing the indices. Typically with a binary search, you can do one, like you can look at one, and I want to say that, okay, so if I have calculate the middle, we're gonna check to see if the middle value is equal to our target. Then you can return the middle value, otherwise check if the middle value is greater or equal to target. If it's greater than or equal to target, okay, so this is a little more complex than I thought. If the middle value is greater than or equal to target, we know that all of the greater, if the middle value is bigger, that means that we need to look at our lower level of our left side, because we need to look at smaller numbers to equal our target. Check, then right moves down to middle -1, else left moves up to middle +1. My concern is that two pair number, but you'll always have a left and a right. So left, right. I wish there was a way to like console.log or print my solutions that I'm anticipating to see. I am gonna say, okay, so we're gonna say left is equal to 0. Okay, of course we're gonna do it up here. Left is equal to 0. Left is equal to 0. Right is equal to array. Length of the array -1. This will help capture the that value at the far right. And we want to say that while left and right do not meet each other, as of the moment, while left is less than right, sometimes it could be left is less than or equal to right, but right now I'm going to say that while left is less than right. We're going to calculate the middle, and then we're going to calculate the middle. Middle is equal to math.floor left plus right divided by 2 in floor. Okay, so you can definitely do left plus right floor 2, and this will round down. And now we're gonna say if array of middle is equal to target. Typically in a binary search, this is what you would do, but the fact that I need to return 2 integers representing the indices in the array, I'm trying to think, like, do I add middle plus 1, middle minus 1? Do I want to say that if array of middle and array of left plus each other, do they equal the target? I am trying to see what is the best way to do this, because typically you would say return the indices, and we're gonna just return the index of middle. If they are equal to this, then that's what we're gonna go ahead and return. Where is my example? Okay, oops. Let's do an example quickly. Okay, we're 30 minutes in, so bear with me on this. Okay, so we know for sure that it's sorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I want to get an array. Ooh. So an array of integers, and we know that it's sorted. An array of 2 integers representing indices in the target. If no pairs add up to the target, because say for instance this is my sorted array, and I have an indices of, our target total of 8. This one should technically be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, and 5. This should return me back a 1 and a 5, because 2 plus 6 equals 8. You can do 3 plus 5 equal 8. But the way I'm doing with binary search right now, let me see, L, R, and I'm going to say that we're going to calculate a middle M. L, R, M. And I'm going to say, I almost want to say that I'm going to do L plus M to see if, am I thinking about this right? I want to reread what they stated above, because typically when you have a sorted array, you can use a binary search. Are there any other algorithms that I can definitely use for this? Additionally, okay, so the code incorrectly uses the dictionary to store the current number as the key, which leads to incorrect. It is. The difference is not in dictionary. The dictionary of that num is equal to the index that we land on. Otherwise, you're gonna just return the dictionary, the current index that we landed on, and also this. My head, I am thinking that. Feel free to let me know if you think something else too as well. The code incorrect. Okay, but if it's already sorted, then we can just do a loop. We can, Anyway, if that is already doing the loop, which can lead, additionally, the code incorrectly uses dictionary to store the current number. Its same number appears more. 33 minutes in. Okay, so I give myself 2 more minutes, otherwise we're gonna cut it and we're just gonna figure it out. 2 more minutes, cause yeah, the timing part, this is pretty good stuff, because I want to make sure I can do things within 2 minutes. Okay, 1 minute out. Okay, so additionally, the code incorrectly uses, But this approach is generally great for finding two numbers that sum up a target in an unsorted. But now that we know that it's sorted, the code does not handle. Additionally, the code does not handle the case where no valid pair exists correctly, as it might return indices if duplicates are involved. This approach is generally correct. Okay. Okay, I will have to cap it at this. Now there's 35 minutes. I guess I was thinking binary search. I was thinking, what other 2-pointers? Because 2-pointers you can start at the end. 2-pointers you can start right next to each other. 2-pointers you can start in the middle. Oh, you can start in the middle and then spread out. That's right. That's right, because typically you can start in the middle of the array index. You start in the array index and then you go and you work your way out. Okay, give me another 2 minutes. Just give me another 2 minutes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're still gonna go ahead and calculate the middle. Okay, let me try to think about it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and say that left is equal to what is it? Left plus right. Okay, so because this is gonna matter as well to see if the length of the array is odd or even. Because if it's odd, both of them, left and right, will typically end up in the middle together. But then if that is true, because if it's even, both of them will be right next. The middle will be right next to each other. But if it's odd, they do end up together and then they branch out. Left plus right minus 2, and then, oh, this one doesn't understand, so we're gonna say the array of 0 in this, while left is less than right. No, I wouldn't even say that. While less than right. Okay. No, I don't want to be unfair to myself. The fact that I've taken 36 minutes, that's more than like an actual interview, and 50%. Okay, but I didn't do so hot on that one because that one was good, nicely done by AI. I had to think about like all these other solutions, these other solutions, and definitely made me think about like all these patterns that I've seen and recognized. So I love it thus far. I hope you get to check it out today. Let me know if you need the link to this website. But yes, we're gonna go eat. And we're gonna figure this out. So I hope to do more of these in the next coming days. I enjoyed this. So otherwise, it was good to see you guys. We'll catch up soon. Have a good one.